Welcome to the Written by Wolves podcast. I'm your host, Ollie, and today we are joined by the one and only, the other skinny motherfucker from Bay Dreams, other than MGK, coined by Mr. MGK, Karl Woodhams. Thanks for being here. Actually, it's probably not going to be chronologically, but this is actually the first podcast we're recording. So who would have thought that the two of us would be left on our own device?
The two percussionists and the backbeat of the band, let's be honest.
I was talking to Davey the other night after band practice, and he was like, why is it you guys being the first ones? This is going to be a disaster.
Well, it's because I think we're the only ones that were free tonight.
Yes, and we are the most committed members of the band. So, it goes to show.
It's true.
Okay, so apologies if it sounds a bit off the rails, but so Karl, how are you going?
I'm going well. We're it's a Wednesday night.
Yeah,
it's pissing to outside. There's a lot of rain, a lot of wind, and we're tucked up in here, and it's nice and cozy, and we've got a bit of greenery, and I've got a beer, and I'm happy as Larry.
Yeah, mate, it's fucking awesome. I got a alcohol-free one, which is quite cool.
Nice. Yeah, I got a few friends doing the Dry July, and I've just never partaken in it. It's just,
fair enough.
As I said before, I just want to have a brew or a glass of red, or a Chardonnay.
Why not?
Or fucking whatever's in the fridge.
Why
not? Pales if it's there.
A Merlot.
A Cabernet Sauvignon Blanc.
Exactly.
But no, thank you for having me. It's good to be here, and yeah, it's good. It's good times.
So one thing that I thought we could do is start every podcast by asking, what have you been listening to? What have you been watching? What have you been reading, if you've been reading? And what have you been doing in your spare time, sort of any new interest and stuff?
Nice.
So what have you been listening to recently?
So lately, I have been listening to... Honestly, I listen to so much random shit, bro. Like,
Same.
I'll listen to Classic FM, and then I'll listen to Architects, and then I'll listen to As LA Dying, and then I'll listen to pop music or whatever. I mean, it just depends on how I'm feeling at each hour of the day. It can change. I mean, the morning could be slow jazz, and then the afternoon or the midday could be heavy metal, and so on. It just depends. But
exactly.
But I've really been getting into Architects and stuff lately. The new Bring Me stuff's really, really good. Which might be a bit of a 50-50 with what people say. I think that some people say their new shit, they've sold out, whatever. But I don't know. I really enjoy it. I think the songwriting's really good, and the music that they're releasing is amazing. So
yeah, exactly. I feel like it's like the thing that's so cool about Bring Me is everything that they do is different. Like you can't predict what it's going to sound like next, which I think is a real cool thing.
That's true.
And like there aren't many bands that like you can kind of say that about, and I think that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of hopefully something that we sort of aspire or strive to also have that similar thing where you don't know what will come out next.
That's true. I think that they, them and definitely Travis Barker is involved with this as well, but like just bringing back the rock music to the younger audience as well. Bringing back rock music to people who probably wouldn't usually listen to rock.
Yeah.
So I feel like you do have to give it up to them really playing a big part in that. So yeah, I mean, I've been really enjoying their stuff. But their old stuff's amazing as well. I've been listening to them since they started in 2004 or 6 or whenever it was. When just, as you said, tall, skinny kids.
Yeah.
But from what they were to where they've gone now, obviously it's a huge change. It's a very, very different genre of music that they're playing. But it's good. It's a good change, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, there aren't many bands that like can say you listen to like what was their big song, the first one that was like really big, Pray for Plagues. Is that Bring Me?
I think the first song that got them like big was Can You Feel My Heart? Yeah, because I mean that song.
That was the one that had the double music, like everything was flashy in the music video, right?
Yeah, that's the one. I mean, lately that's been like a TikTok song.
Really?
Yeah. And bro, if you go on their Spotify, that's their number. It's got like almost 400 million streams on it now. and it's like a lot more than a lot of their other stuff.
Yeah.
Because that shit was on TikTok. Get on TikTok.
Yeah. Feel free to. There's a few written by All's ones.
We're just starting out, to be honest. So it's like, it's still got a lot of work. So
it's so bad. Like I've like, for better or for worse, kept myself away from TikTok just because my brain is like, it'll f me up.
Oh,
like
it's nuts.
My ADD, like it will just like destroy me.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, need to do it, especially for the band. Also, it's real weird. Like, and maybe I don't know how to do it properly. I probably don't. But you can't like actually add a full song. So like the only clips that I could find available of songs were like little snippets.
But that's TikTok. That's why it's so big.
Yeah,
because
but I want to be able to pick what snippet I want to play.
Yeah, I know, but I see what you mean.
Yeah, like it's pre-picked for you.
Yeah, you can't find like whole songs or anything.
Yeah.
You can on like other video streaming
It's
things.
annoying.
Yeah, but that's where it's going, bro. Like if you look at like TikTok and all the Instagram reels and shit that you see now, that shit, it's all come from TikTok. Like people don't want to watch 10-minute videos anymore. They want to watch 15-second snippets and bang onto the next one. And then when it reads your algorithm and knows what you want to watch, because it reads what you watch and what you stay on, what you flick, it just doesn't start. It gets rid of that stuff,
Yeah, fuck yeah.
It's a fucking, bro, it's like an AI thing and it's taking over the world.
You got to read a bit of a side note, but you got to read the book Stolen Focus. It's real good.
What's that?
It's about like sort of basically he's written a few books. He did a book on addiction and he did another one on mental health called Lost Connections, which is real good. But Stolen Focus is his newest one, which is about like why is everyone's attention span getting worse and worse. Yeah. And he talks about like the algorithms of social media.
It's social media, honestly.
Yeah. But there's lots of other stuff. But it's
if you think it's like bad now, and you see how bad it's got so fucking fast. Yeah. Like TikTok hasn't been around for very long.
No.
Probably like what? 2 years?
Maybe 3?
And that shit is taking over. Like it's crazy. So I think like imagine what in 10 years, I don't know what. Like you could not, like the world has advanced in the last 20 years, it's advanced more than it had in the last 500 years, probably.
Yeah. What is it called?
Mate, where are we going to be in 20 years?
There's a special word for it.
Knows?
I can't remember what it is, but basically it's like technology evolves like
crazy.
Exponentially every 3 years or something.
It does, yeah. It's scary.
But yeah, even like music, it's changed the realm of music as well, for better or for worse. Yeah. But then you look at like people like Kate Bush and stuff, which is quite cool.
Yeah, it's brought out a lot of cool artists though.
Yeah.
You know, there's a TikTok artist is a real thing now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of famous people, a lot of great artists. I think Sam Fender was a TikTok guy.
Oh yeah.
And he's fucking unreal. I mean, that dude's set at Glastonbury. He's like the young Bruce Springsteen, bro. Oh, he's got like full like horn section on his stage. He's insane. Yeah. So good.
I must admit, I haven't listened to him.
Bro, you need to go and listen to Sam Fender. He's mean.
And on that, what have you been watching lately?
Honestly, I don't watch a hell of a lot of TV. I've been forced to watch Love Island because of the missus.
I have too, actually. And like, I must admit, I was really reluctant. But like, Danny's made me watch every now and then maybe 2 seasons. And I was always like, no, I don't want to watch this. But I've kind of got sucked in, actually. I actually watched an episode on my own the other day because I was so behind.
You're definitely in.
Not as bad as Davey, though. Apparently, Davey.
Oh, of course, Davey watches Love Island.
Yeah, but he's like, so like at Danny's work, apparently Davey is ahead of everyone else. They've got like some sort of streaming platform that is like further forwards than the New Zealand ones.
Oh, true.
And
he's all up in there. Nice.
Yeah, well, he should be working.
Hey, there's an Australian one now, and apparently it's fucking savage. Like on the second my missus watches it religiously, so I kind of end up sitting there with the 2 cats. Like,
how are
they? They're good. They're good. John's small and annoying, and Harley's big and fat. So the 2 of them go quite well.
Did you both get them at the same time, or?
Sorry?
Did you both get them at the same time?
No. So Harley was a stray. I found him under the house. And when he was tiny, little kitten, fed him pate and he never left. And then we just got John probably in March, April.
It's very cute.
Yeah, so he's a lambkin, which is a quite a rare breed actually. I'll have you find. There's only one breeder, and she's just started breeding them. But it's a Selkirk Rex crossed with a Munchkin, so it's got the little legs, and he's wool, which is with a lamb. So Munchkin, lambkin.
I didn't even know there was a Munchkin breed.
He's pretty ruthless, bro. But he's good. He's really, really cute.
Our cat Benji's like 7, and he's just like Garfield. Like we took him to the vet, and they said he's extremely overweight. And we're like, what do we do? Like, how can we help him lose weight? And like, wow, like we've been restricting his food 28 grams every morning and every dinner. And they're like, is he overly active? It's like, no. How are you supposed to make a cat active?
Yeah, it's not like you can put him on a leash and take him for a walk.
Exactly.
No, I quite like a fat cat, to be honest. They're quite cuddly and they just sort of lope around and do everything, which is quite nice.
Yeah, it's so hard. Like, I know it's bad for the joints and stuff, and it's okay. Sweet. And have you been doing anything special recently? Any new sort of practices or things in your day-to-day routine?
Not really, to be honest. I think just, not really, honestly. I mean, apart from, writing this album or helping, do this album, and Dave's done an amazing job, Mike's done an amazing job. But sitting on, a few of the sessions and helping really try and get this shit done so we can get it mixed and produced. It's sounding really, really good. But yeah, just bang it out onto the next. Let's go.
Yeah, 100%.
I think the world's opening up now, so we can, this is the time to really get going.
Yeah, exactly.
We can start traveling. We can start doing things.
Yeah, it's so true. So one of the big exciting milestones that we've had with the band is we've all got our own set of in-ear monitors, and Karl actually had his ones a wee while ago.
Yep.
And how good are they? Like,
unbelievable. It's the fact that it's taken this long for you guys to get them is crazy. I mean, I've had mine for probably 2 years, and they're so good. Ultimate Ears, by the way. That's the brand.
Shout out to old mate Thomas and Nora at Acoustics for you guys.
Acoustics and Remuera. Amazing.
Yeah, they're like, I remember like it's been something that I have been wanting to do for so long. Like ever since I was probably like 12 or something, I was like, oh, these guys have, you see all the artists that you look up to and they've got them in their ears, and you're like, oh, that's so cool.
I think the fact that you can like customize them as well is really cool. So you don't have to you can have 2 different colors, you can have like sparkles, you can have your designs on there. It's so, you can kind of just muck around and have a bit of fun with them as well.
Yeah.
But the quality of like what you get is crazy good.
Yeah.
Especially if you're playing live music, being on stage, thrashing around, moving your head around, blah, 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 getting sweaty as well. That's a big thing that people probably don't realize is when you got normal in-ears and you sweat, that shit falls out quite easily, especially when you got big ears like me. In Dumbo. But so that was a big change for me where they were molded so once they're in there.
It's so cool. It's real like hectic. It's a real weird feeling when they put in the gel, like
it goes really far in.
Right into like touching your
brain.
eardrum.
Yeah. It's like and then they pull it out and it's like fucking that long. Yeah. It's crazy. It's actually quite sore.
It is like,
it doesn't feel nice. Like people are like, is it nice? It's nice when they pull it out.
Yeah.
But when it goes in and hardens up, it's like,
it's really interesting. Like, I had it done a few times for like other earplugs, but they were way small and it never goes quite to the eardrum. And that was kind of nice because it's like a massage on the inside of your ear. But as soon as it touches your eardrum, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Oh man, that reminds me actually, a bit of a segue, but did I ever tell you about the time that I got a bug stuck in my ear?
No.
Oh, fuck. It was honestly, so like I was like, I don't know what the chances would be, but like I was lying in bed and sort of heard this sort of buzzing in my ear, and like when you go like that, for the people listening, I sort of swiped my ear, and usually that would scare it away, but it made it go in my ear.
Oh my God.
And it was like stuck.
What kind of bug was it?
Oh, probably a fly. But I don't.
Probably a fly.
I never saw it.
It was probably an earwig.
Oh, that was like, I was terrified of those as a kid. Like earwigs and quicksand. I was so scared of those.
Have you seen those? What were those little things called? Like silver. silverback. No, that's a gorilla. Silver beet. No,
I think
silver
I know what
beet's a
you're talking
vegetable.
about, but like
Silver something, but they look like land shrimp.
yeah,
That's the best way I
like
can describe.
slaters.
Some on it, I don't know. They're like silver, and they look like a shrimp, but they were like walked on land. They're fucking awful things.
Oh,
Maybe
are they on sand?
No, that's it wasn't one of those things. It was just like I don't know what it was. Anyway, it was awful.
Yeah, it's kind of funny the things that you get scared about as a kid, but then also the things you get scared about as adults as well.
Yeah.
But so basically, this fly was in my ear, and it was one of the worst experiences of my life.
It
like
hurt.
It hurt like because I think it was trapped and it was trying to get out, and it was like biting. I swear it was like biting my eardrum, and it was so deep, and I felt like I was almost getting controlled by this thing. And I called Dad, and I was like, Dad, what do I do? What do I do? Like, and he was like, okay, what you need to do is go into the pantry. Dad's a doctor, thankfully, and he was like, get some olive oil, and put it in your ear because bugs have got this exoskeleton where they breathe from their skin.
Oh.
And so if you fill them with water, they'll expand. But if you fill them with oil, it won't go into them. So I go into the pantry, I'm like foraging through, and like pick up like the Olivio or something like,
Olivio.
Italian.
Virgin.
Yeah, I pour it in my ear, and it's balsamic vinegar.
Oh, I was just taking a sip of beer when you said that. I almost fucking splattered all over the bloody table.
Oh, it was so bad. And then like obviously poured the olive oil in afterwards, and like went to the doctors, and they just thought it was the funniest shit ever. It's just like, your ear smells delicious.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, that was an
classic.
experience.
Yeah.
And now every time, and then Danny, my partner, went to the doctors later on, and she was like, "Oh, you've seen my fiance. He's the one who got the bug stuck in his ear and put balsamic vinegar in it." He's like, "Oh," knew exactly.
Still remembers it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, that's exciting. The in-ears, like, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Definitely
remember
good
when you
addition.
said the sound was really good, and I was like, "Oh yeah, like whatever, like
I think as well, you can get so many different types.
Yeah.
Like for me, I can't remember the model. I think it was like the Pros 5 or 6 maybe.
Yeah.
But it's got 3 drivers, and I think it's got the bottom end's higher or louder. So it's made for bassists and drummers.
Yeah.
So for me, that was perfect. But you can go right up into like whatever it is, whatever number it goes to, and it's like however many drivers and blah, blah, blah.
I think my ones have got 12.
12 drivers.
Yeah, which I feel like it's just like you get to a point where it's like, okay, right, like cool.
Wow.
I know. But
For a dude that is as a percussionist, that's a lot.
yeah, but I need a lot of sounds. Like I don't know what, and like the hardest part was like, I remember when we were doing it, and I wanted to talk about this on like we were doing the TikTok video, but whenever I want to talk about these things, it's too long for social media, which is why I thought, oh, we'll do this podcast.
Yeah.
But like, I thought that basically it would just be like the cheapest one is the worst and the most expensive one is the best. But every single one was like different. So like the really, really expensive ones would be really good at some things, but then other ones that are like lower down would be better at other things. And also you are listening to music, you listen to them listening for enjoyment, but listening for enjoyment is different to listening for what you need to hear live.
Yeah.
And so I panicked.
It's hard to tell because when you get them molded, he's like, here, listen to this song. And you're like, cool. But that's very, very different to what you're going to be listening to on stage.
Yeah. What song did you play? Do you know?
Oh, I can't remember.
No.
I honestly can't remember. It was a couple of years ago. So
Yeah.
But definitely shout out to Thomas.
Yeah.
He's also got, his name's Thomas Muller, who also plays for Bayern Munich. Let's just put that out. Should we try one of these buttons? Oh, that was terrible. Hang on. Thomas Muller, let's go. Right. Hit me another question.
Next point. Okay, so I would like to know, so especially for those people who haven't realized, I'm actually a late addition to the band, and I've never heard how you joined Wolves.
So I was playing with Davey in Shock and Alley, which was a band we were in obviously before. So I think I joined in 2012 when I was 19 or 20. Moved to the States, did that whole thing, came back, and me and Dave were talking. Dave knew Mikey. I hadn't met Mikey, but David met him quite a few times, and obviously they had spoken about starting a band and blah blah blah. So that's kind of where it came from. So yeah, all four of us were actually founding members, like which is quite cool. So yeah, so I think, I mean, we've been together for 7 years, I believe. Seven years, I think it is now. So 2014.
Yeah, 2015, I think.
2015. Something like that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's kind of where it started. It was off the back of the band in LA that we were in, which was a great band, but I think people just wanted to go different ways. So
yeah.
the band broke up and, yeah, we came back and started Wolves.
Yeah. And run me through, like, when they found you, like, with Shotgun.
Oh, yeah. So I was like probably 17, just left school, and I was playing. I was studying at SAE, Sound Audio Engineering in Parnell.
I never realized that's what it stood for.
Yeah, Sound Audio Engineering. Yeah. So and I was doing my 1 year diploma thing and whatever it was, and I was playing in a band called Seven Seas, which was a just a metalcore band basically.
Same. Not in that band, but I was in another metalcore band.
Yeah. And one of my very, very good friends, Justin Mattia, shout out to Justin, and Jordan Flood and Matt Budden, we started Seven Seas. Anyway, we had 4 songs, and every set we played was like 15 minutes because we only had 4 songs.
Yeah. And were they like all ages shows, like as well? Like the
we mainly sometimes we mainly played at King's Arms.
Real?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So there was another band we used to play quite a lot with called Till Death Do Us Party.
Oh, yes.
Who were pretty rad.
Yeah.
There must have been about 7 or 6 or 7 people in that band.
Yeah.
But they were cool. So we played quite a bit with them. And anyway, we only had 4 songs, but we were super tight. Like we were really fucking tight at those 4 songs. Yeah. Because Matt and Jordan was like, I play a little bit of bass, and then would turn up and be like finger tapping and shit. Like, bro, this dude's insane. And Matt was mean, and Justin was just a big fucking Samoan screamer. So we had it all going.
Nice.
Anyway, Beach came to one show at the King's Arms and saw me play and poached me to Shotgun.
Interesting.
So I joined Shotgun, and about 3 months later, I was living in LA.
Far out.
So I didn't have much time. I was still living at home. I was only 18 or something. And I was like, hey, Mum and Dad, I just joined a new band moving to LA. Had no money, so Dad funded me the whole trip. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, were they good about it?
Yeah, but all Dad's ever wanted to do was play music.
Yeah.
But he never got the chance to. So he's kind of like, he's living through me now, you know?
Yeah.
So when he heard that, he was like, fucking beautiful, let's go. So he just kind of funded my whole trip, which was sick.
Nice.
So I got to say thank you, Dad. Love you.
That is awesome. I remember the first time I told Mum, like, I was probably like 13 or 14, and I told her, she's like, what do you want to do when you're older? I was like, I want to be a professional musician. And she was like, what? Oh, I can't believe, dude, you'll be destined to live in a white van for your whole life.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to be your life. You realize that? Luckily,
you know what though?
That's a bit more supportive.
That's spoken like a true doctor's family, eh? You have to be a doctor.
That was the other thing as well. I remember Dad took me aside, and he was like, you realize that if you become a radiologist, you could work for 2 days a week and then do the rest in music. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, well that's an option. Didn't tell me that wouldn't be until you're like fucking 45.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't worry about the 19,000 years of studying you have to do.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, well look, you've done really well. You're a qualified doctor and you're still doing this. So you're doing it.
We're doing it all right. As everyone's asked, by the skin of my teeth, but wouldn't trade it for anything else. And how old were you when you first started playing drums?
Probably about 7, I would say.
Oh yeah, that's probably about the same as me.
Yeah, so apparently like what everybody says, like hit the old pots and pans when you're a kid, whatever, but...
Wasn't you?
Oh, no, apparently I did, but I don't remember really anything about it, but I just remembered starting to play drums. Like I don't remember ever being like, oh, I really want to play drums. I do remember having a friend called Bryce at school, and he started playing drums. And I was like, oh, I might do that with Bryce because he was a mate. And so anyway, so we both started with a teacher called, the first teacher was this bald American dude. And he was fucking
I feel like
It was
everyone's first teacher
honestly,
was real,
he was an
average,
American guy, and he was really nice, but
Yeah.
he had this huge drum kit. I remember the first time I ever played a drum kit. Like before I even had a lesson, he invited me around to his house so I could like play on his kit.
Yeah.
And I like turned up, and I remember seeing this kit because it was the first time I'd ever played on a proper drum kit. And they had like fucking 4 rack toms,
Really?
3 floors.
What?
Like cymbals everywhere. Like honestly, it was ridiculous. And I'm like, what the like? Ding,
Yeah.
like everybody does, just like whatever. And he taught for a little while, and then he just disappeared. And then this guy called Paul Ewing came, who was a Māori,
I feel like I've heard that.
and he was a theatre drummer. He was fucking epic, and he was the only reason I continued to play. I probably wouldn't have kept going if it wasn't for him.
Yeah. My first drum teacher was this sort of, it kind of reminds me of like one of those characters from South Park, like the ones that like played World of Warcraft or something.
Yeah.
And he'd sit there on his chair because he only had one drum kit. So I would play the drums and he'd sit there with a keyboard and just go with the keyboard. He's like, all right, play that. And that would be it.
Nice.
But then I had a few really cool drummers after that. Like there's this guy called Marcel Rodiker in Dunedin who was like, he's like a legend in there.
Yeah.
And then actually my drum teacher when I moved up to Auckland was Corey Friedlander. Old mate from City of Souls and
who was also one of the nicest people I've ever met.
That guy is a
weapon on the kit and weapon for a personality as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Good dude.
He definitely was like the human vegan powers for me.
I think he was a guy that kind of got a lot of young people into like metal drumming as well, like, especially around New Zealand. Like he was kind of the metal drummer in Auckland or even around the country. But he's always been amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Like I remember, did you ever get into that band Injured Response?
Yes.
Yeah. So I remember the first time I heard Injured Response, I was like, oh my God, this drums is like insane. Later found out years later that it was programmed.
Oh yeah.
But Corey was the first human being who could play the program bits.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I'm moving to Auckland. Who's the best drummer I can think of? Him. And he was a teacher.
Yeah, that's the way. But yeah, Paul Ewing, I have to say, also a big shout out to Paul Ewing.
Yeah,
but
sorry. He totally.
No, that's all right. When he, so he took over. And then we just started, because I was always getting drum lessons at school, never had a drum kit. My parents were like, when you're better than the teacher, then we'll buy you a kit. Which gave me motivation to do that, right? Otherwise, they would have bought me a kit. And they would have had to listen to me be fucking shit at home, banging away. Because I don't think electric kits were really a thing back then.
No.
Well, they kind of were, because Paul had one, but I think they were like $1 million or something.
Yeah.
But I used to practice, so I used to go to his house, and he would just jam, because he'd play everything. Like he would just jam guitar, and I would just jam drums, and we would just literally jam for like an hour.
That's
and then my parents would give him like $100 or whatever it was for a session, and we did that till I was 12, and then that's when I was better than him. And then my parents bought me a drum kit.
It's so interesting actually, because I remember it kind of sounds similar to Mikey's story when he got into music. Like Mikey was saying, he used to, I don't know whether it was he was getting guitar lessons, and Mikey would probably be annoyed that I'm saying this, but instead of him saying it, but like Mikey was either getting guitar lessons and went to sing instead, and they thought that they were funding his guitar lessons, but really it was just singing.
Yeah.
Or he was going to singing lessons just so he could play guitar with the guy.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how when you're a kid and you're just like, you don't really know what the fuck's going on until you're like 20 and you're like, fuck, I've been playing for like 15 years now. Like, where did that time go?
I know.
And you don't really know when you started, and you don't really know when you're going to like finish, if you ever will, or like, you just kind of like, just keep going.
Yeah. Did you ever have a moment like when you were growing up where you were like, this is it, this is what I want to
do? No.
Interesting.
No, I mean, yes, I did. I mean, originally I wanted to be a car designer, but that fell apart pretty quickly because I can't draw. Yeah. So that didn't really work out. But I have always wanted to play music. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And like, that is what I want to do. So I have known that I have wanted to do that. Yeah. So it is the one thing that I've always been like, I'll fucking drop anything for this.
Yeah. So. It's interesting. I remember it's so funny. How different everyone is with like their pass through. Like I remember like the moment where I realized that I wanted to do it was so vivid, and that like, so I think it was probably like 13 or 14, and my first ever girlfriend had just broken up with me, and I was heartbroken. Like I was just didn't know what to do with myself, and I was so lost. And I remember just sitting in like this room in our house in Invercargill. We used to go there quite a bit, and I was like just feeling real lost, and played like the Nirvana making of Nevermind thing, and there were all these videos of Dave Grohl, and for some reason that was like, oh. And then from there I went from like playing drums because I had to, because I got lessons and I had to practice for practice, to I want to do it because I want to do it. It's interesting.
That's funny. Yeah, some people have like real.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Some people have real, like, memorable like artists or drummers or whatever it is that they like. That's what got me into it. But I've like people ask me like, who's your inspiration? And I'm like, I don't honestly like. My inspiration comes from different genres.
Yeah,
it doesn't come from specific artists.
Interesting. Not even as a kid, like
as a kid as well. Like, and that's why I think like when we went back to like what music do you listen to? Like I listen to like opera and metal and jazz and blues and hip hop and hard style, whatever.
Hard style.
Well, I mean, only when I'm watching TikTok videos and watch those dudes doing that dance.
Hard style is probably the one genre that I can't do away.
I just popped that one out there just to see what you'd say. It was a
Fair
test. Nah. But yeah, so mine was all about genres. So like different, like if I was like trying to like learn different fills or like different ways of playing, I'd listen to gospel music. Listen to Tony Rosa Jr. or whatever it was. And then you listen to, I mean, Foo Fighters and stuff. Obviously, like that type of music was amazing. Like just proper rock music. Like, yeah. So, I mean, there was always different types of things going around, but like there was no real artist that got me like into it. I was just more genres of music. Yeah.
That is interesting.
Which I think is why it's cool with Wolves, is because like how it's come from like that sort of cinematic part of it, like the Hans Zimmer and, you know, that sort of thing. For me, that's amazing, because when I'm listening to music, I'd listen to like everything, which is probably what every musician in the world would say.
Yeah, no, it's true though.
But you hear little bits and pieces that most people might not necessarily hear. So that's the sort of shit that gets me into music.
Yeah,
especially
I feel like it's an important thing as well. I remember when I was younger, like I heard this interview with, I think it was Ollie from Plymouth Horizon actually, and they were like, well, what music do you listen to? And he was like naming all these pop artists and like all this other stuff, and like, what metal do you listen to? And so I don't really listen to metal, because like, what's the point in listening to the music you make? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's kind of like, at the time I was like, what an idiot. But it makes sense like when you get further on.
Yeah.
Do you know, when I was younger, for ages, I used to think genre was genre.
Genre?
Yeah, I used to read it as genre.
That's like someone from Pretoria in South Africa. Genre exhibit.
The things you know.
That's an absolute Ollie answer right there, to be honest. I'll just let you all know.
Yeah.
Forget about the R. Genre.
I don't know whether we just keep going or not.
Let's just keep going.
Yeah. Okay,
how long are we going for?
About 35 minutes.
That's fine. Just keep going.
Yeah. How old were you? Like, what was your first? Like, was Seventh your first ever band?
Nah. So, actually, the first ever band I was in was when I was at primary school. And
primary.
Yeah, because Paul Ewing, the drummer, my drum teacher.
Yeah.
He was in my band, playing guitar and singing, and he had us, like a bunch of fucking 5-year-olds or 7-year-olds or whatever. Like, I was playing drums and I had another mate, I think Alex McGill or whatever his name was playing bass or some shit. And Paul, and it was me. And we used to play like all of the fairs at school. So you'd have like probably about like 400 people watching you, like huge on the field, like with all these families having picnics and stuff. They had these big stages set up. It was mean.
Those would have been the biggest shows you would have done for a while.
Oh, they were quite huge. I mean, yeah, that was actually quite fun. And I feel like that's why I don't really get nervous anymore, because I started doing it so young.
True.
And then when I went to high school, I was in a band called Talkbox.
Talkbox. Oh, yeah.
Which was my high school band, and that was really like my first rock band.
Did you have a Talkbox?
No, we didn't use one. Oh. That was just the name. But Johnny Neary, Brad Craig, and he's gonna kill me when I forget his name now.
Oh.
Max something. Sorry, Max something.
Max
But
Vanderlei.
yeah, but it was that was like the first rock band with like RockQuest and all the stuff that you do when you're in high school. And,
How much of a big deal was RockQuest back in the day?
it was huge. I mean, that was like the thing, you know.
I think I had my first proper like full blown like argument with my girlfriend at the time over RockQuest. Like,
No, you didn't have an argument. You stopped texting her for 3 days.
yeah.
And she got f***ed off of you, which is totally fair enough.
Well, RockQuest is very important. It took priority. It's like I was saying like the other day.
Don't tell Danny that.
I was saying the other day about Alien Weaponry. Like there was this interview of them a few years ago where they were playing Download Festival and Rock and Ring and all this stuff. And they're like, oh, what are your plans for the year? Like, whoa, we got Download Festival, Rock and Ring, and then we got to come back for Smoke Free RockQuest.
Yeah.
And I'm like, for the international listeners, Smoke Free RockQuest is like Battle of the Bands for high school students.
But that honestly, the fact that like they came back for it, that shows how big it was.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was huge. Like any New Zealand artist will have been in it. Davies Band won it, of course.
Of course, yeah, they won.
Of course they won.
Bro, they were mean.
Well, that's the
were so
thing
mean.
that I'm like sad about is like being so young, like hearing the stories about, you know, I knew about Mikey obviously because he was on TV,
Yeah.
but never knew about Davey, and everyone was like, oh, Davey was
in some quite big bands. Like he's done his rounds around the music scene in New Zealand, and he's a changed man now, and he has been for a long time.
Yeah, it's a shame. I've never really seen glimpses of
Just imagine
crazy.
a large Asian man with eyeliner and long hair, with like tattoos and like 400 kilos just of muscle.
Yeah.
Nah, but he's been around the scene a lot, and he's been in some fucking good bands, which is really cool. Honestly, he's been a big inspiration for me as well, I have to say.
Yeah.
When I was living in America and I was, as I said, 19 or 20 or something, I hadn't really left home. You know, I didn't really know them because we moved there so quickly when I joined. Him and Sarah, his wife, were like mum and dad. You know, I still call Sarah mum sometimes.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, so I'm always going to have like the highest fucking respect for those two, forever. Yeah. So
Davey and Sarah are, that's definitely a good way of describing them. Yeah. They're the best. And Davey's just like their ability to just spit out songs.
Oh,
is like
it's crazy.
Insane.
Yeah. I mean, for you and me being like drummers and stuff, we have input and we have ideas, but when you like write melodies on guitars, you're melodic and you know, like, because I can't read music. I don't fucking know what an A sharp or F minor is. I don't give a rat's ass. But he'll just sit there and like write an idea. When he writes ideas and we work together, we actually work really well because we have like, I kind of just be like, like whatever it is, and be like, and he'll be like, oh, do, and then we push them together and be like, oh, change this bit, that bit, whatever. But I would never be able to do it by myself.
No, neither. And like I'm definitely one of those people where I'm more of a fine details type of person. Like I'm way better at like jumping in and adding bits onto something than coming up with something from scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. Okay.
I wanted to. I needed to do this because this is crack up. So I'm opening Snapchat for some reason.
Okay.
Oh, my friend's just gone to London, to Europe for the first time in his life.
Is this Julian?
He's in. This is Brett.
Oh,
the twins, Brett.
Yeah.
He's in Greece, bro. Look at that.
Ooh, no.
It's looking like about 30 degrees and blue skies, which is a lot better than what we have.
Any Greek fans out there, hit us up.
Well, I'm happy to come to Greece whenever you want us. So, but yeah, so my missus has put something together, which is quite funny. So it's called Social Comments.
Yeah.
So completely out of context from all areas of your socials. Here you go. Thoughts on these comments. Some are just questions, not at all crazy. Okay. So these are basically, it's kind of like mean tweets.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you what you reckon about these.
Okay.
And you tell me what you think.
Okay.
Nice fucking band. Never heard of.
Well, they've clearly heard of them now.
Yeah. Well, they've had enough time to comment. So,
is this about us or something?
This is all written by Wolves songs on YouTube, I think. Yeah.
Oh, I like this.
How many frontmen has his band had Actually, just one.
Yeah, just one.
Just one.
That's just how diverse Mikey's vocal range is.
And honestly, yeah, he can sing like down here and then fucking way up here. He's like Michael Houston, Whitney Houston's lost brother. Subtitles. What is this? David just being a manus. Oh, I don't know what that is. Here's a good one. Wish you were running with the wolves. You want to be.
It's an interesting, like, somebody really doesn't like us, but running with the wolves sounds quite cool. I guess in real life it'd be quite dangerous.
Yeah, it would be dangerous. Although,
but I feel like when you say with,
it's only dangerous
feels like
when
we're
you
together.
It's only dangerous when you become tired. Don't they just hunt you until you fucking can't do anymore, and then they fucking kill you?
Possibly. I think that's what humans do.
Don't they
well. Like people said the adaptational advantage of humans, like we weren't very good at fighting, but we could run for ages.
You just hunt. That's what hunting is. You just chase until they. Not nowadays when you got guns, but back then I can imagine you just hunt them down until they can't go any further. Sounds like an anime opening. I actually quite like that one.
Yeah, I mean, shout out. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Like, anime openings are sick.
If we could get an anime theme song, we'd be fucking multi-millionaires, mate. So I'd be quite happy with that.
Yeah.
Someone said, "Is this rapcore?"
I wonder what song they were referring to. And
rapcore.
You know, what's wrong with that necessarily?
Yeah.
I like Amure. I think Amure are technically rapcore in their stuff.
Someone said, "Scream my name." Who's playing the kazoo? Buy Bitcoin. Oh, mate, the pop, my homies listen to hardcore.
What? I'm just more impressed that Rosie's been like trawling through to find these comments.
I know. I mean, look, for the first ever podcast, we're doing all right. So
we're doing great. Wow, that was. I just need to say, I literally didn't know that was a clapping button.
It was perfect.
I clicked a random button.
Absolutely perfect.
So, Karl, before we let you go, do you have? Well, I guess that kind of was your parting words. But any words of wisdom, anything you want to say to the listeners out there before we go?
What do I want to say to the listeners? Play hard and just write what you want. Don't fucking try and be that guy to write something that people want to listen to. Write what you want to play and the people will come.
The people will come.
The people will come.
Well, I think we can probably wrap it up there.
Cool.
Who would have thought? We were quite concerned about how this was going to go, to be honest, and we may rewatch this and be like, what the fuck? But I think for the first time we've ever recorded it, I quite enjoyed it.
It was good.
Thank you. Yeah.
It was, first podcast ever for the Wolves. There's going to be many more coming. This is the pilot, so
this probably won't be the first one either. I'd say you'll be listening to this and being like, what the fuck? I've already heard a few of them. But we have an order in mind. But we're busy people. Mikey's got 2 children. Davey is also of child.
Thanks for your time, people.
Yeah. So
wherever you're listening from, thank you, Ollie, for having me.
And thank you, Karl, for coming.
Yeah,
thank you.
It's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Woo! We did it. Alrighty.